on the last call that this came out of just your idea, Billy, to get together and talk about how we're handling the pandemic or some of the challenges.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always inspired by Allan and his recognition of just a lot of the things that go on with people, particularly men, and what gets in the way for us just in life that seems to be in some ways magnified, I think, with the current conditions for a lot of people.
Yeah, I find that before COVID-19 hit, it was all about go, 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 the code word, busy, right? You ask people, how are you doing? Busy, busy, busy. And all of a sudden, I think that a lot of us had to slow down. And I mean, Wayne, you mentioned you're working on all these books right now. And I'm finding that I thought I was a lot better with change than I am, but I'm getting there.
And what you mentioned in terms of slowing down, Allan, like, has it been a time to reflect for you too?
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. See, for me, when I was going through addiction, I had no relationship with myself. I mean, I did everything to live outside of myself because I didn't want to be with this. I did not want to be with this. And I guess the one thing that I take some comfort in is now that things are, I guess, slower, I'm comfortable being with myself. And that feels good because that's still somewhat new for me. What about you guys?
I think one of the things that's hard for, I'll say, guys like us who our message is like me around aliveness, and you guys are about wellness and being upbeat and being inspired. You go to a Wayne Lee show, you walk out feeling great. You go listen to Allan do a keynote, you feel inspired. And I think for us, we at first might feel like I shouldn't be feeling these things. I shouldn't be feeling loss, disappointment, frustration. And I think one of the biggest keys during what we're going through is step one is to acknowledge and really feel what you're feeling.
Yeah. Hey, I got something I need to run by you guys and maybe the 3 people that are watching, okay? So this is in line with the need to feel. I have my friend here, and he's bad to the bone. I found this hat, the man, because I call him Axel the man. And while he's great with the ladies, he sucks at managing his emotions. So let me run this by you because I've used this in a keynote before and it went south because it gets weird. Can I run this through?
Yeah, go for it, man.
So let's just say that these balls represent emotions. So Axel doesn't manage his emotions like anger. What does he do? He suppresses, stuffs it inside. And then what I usually do is I'll take other balls and I'll say, shout out an emotion that we might not manage effectively. So they'll be like, shame. Yeah, that works stuff. But here's where it gets weird, okay? And I just want to run this by you because I have to take off his head. And this is where I lose people because I have to, I just got to show you this. So if I take a ball and, they're like, oh, anger, shame, and I stuff it all inside because my point is this is the emotions that we suppress, but I lose them because the head comes off the doll.
Well, here's the thing. I like it as a metaphor is you have to let go of trying to think your way through things. You have to stop being analytical. It's not about critical thinking. It's about taking away your thinking mind and actually allowing yourself to experience your feelings. So I think it actually enhances the message.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, but the feedback was so intense, I guess I'll say, that I turned to this. I just said, this will represent your body. And my point was, you can only suppress so many emotions before what's going to happen. You're going to become full. And so then often we have to get rid of that energy. It's typically through anger, especially as men. And then it's kind of the segue into how can we manage these more effectively. So I'm just lost in the approach with the doll or just stick with this.
I think here's where we went south, is you got to give a trigger warning for people who previously have been decapitated.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
Hey, Alan, that's a strong visual, man. It's a strong visual that head coming.
Yeah, a little too strong. Okay. So just stick with the container itself, hey?
Or
I
a
like
hole
it.
in the head? Is there a hole in the head?
Well, I mean, you know,
Right, you got to take off the whole thing.
yeah. And yeah, you know, this presentation or this talk already has gone a direction I didn't think it would go, but I
I think
appreciate the feedback.
I think your punchline is you have to have balls to feel your emotions.
Oh,
There.
yeah, that'll work.
And I thought when you pulled that guy out that you were going to be doing some ventriloquism.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I cannot do that. But really, for me, all this stillness, once things aren't as busy, I guess it really has made me feel. And there's a lot of talk about, oh, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. And I'll share this one thing because I found it sad that last week I left the office, and I love my work. I love what I do, but I left the office to go hang out with my wife and the kids to go to, it's called the Devic Center, a place to just hike, and there's a labyrinth and there's crystals. But my point is, the sad truth is, had it not been for this COVID-19, I don't think I would have left work to hang out with the family. And so I think that should we go back to normal, well, I don't want to, because then I'm going to miss all the lessons that I've taken with me. We cannot go back to normal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people debating whether, we're going back to normal or if there's a new normal. And actually, I want to propose a third alternative, because if it's a new normal, it's kind of a reference to what was. And I think the opportunity is always in creating something brand new, right? When things emerge, I think if we want to be really optimistic, we've learned things through this experience so that we can leave the stuff that didn't work in the past. We don't have to drag it forward and redo something. And I think that for you, where you talked about not doing stuff, I mean, I think to me, the slowing down had a veil get lifted, right? And I could see for me, similarly, either a way of not feeling things is to be busy, or my busyness was to deal with some kind of thing that I felt was missing in me, and to actually see something that probably would have stayed hidden had I just been going about the same level of activity and having the next goal to pursue and all the things that I would typically do.
I resonate with that, Billy. Like, I find that myself, I look at how busy I was with, again, the word busy, in terms of going after these live events. And my case is that the fact that, I ended up looking at wanting to do more and more and more, because that's where I feel most alive, is on stage. But behind that, I also have this deep, and we were talking about it before, Alan, is that I've got all this information, all these things that I've wanted to put into book form, that I want to deliver in video. And now we have, there's no other time in history that we're so advanced that we can do this. And yet at the same time, I'm looking to get on stages to do what I love to do. That can be very elusive, because I'm doing that and avoiding this real powerful mission inside of me to get it out. So for me, it was a shake up to wake up. And I noticed, like, I would go back into my journals, which I've been doing 10 years ago, and I was saying the same thing then as I'm writing now. But I haven't had enough guts. I haven't been in alignment to own it to the point where I'm just spreading it out there, because a lot of it is spiritual in nature. It's metaphysical. It's stuff that, I could say I'm downloading, I'm channeling, and I am completely okay with that now, because I'm owning who I am. I'm owning that we live in this world, that this is a wake-up call. And for me to get it out there without any wall, it's freedom. Yeah. So I also look at the people that are really handling this well, and the people that are handling this quite well are usually the people that were handling life well before this happened. So mindset is a big part of this in terms of how people are taking this in. And the other thing that I'd like to make a distinction about is that some people say we're all in the same boat, or we're all in the same storm. And I think we may have talked about it before, is that we're not all in the same boat. We're all in the same storm, but there's people that are working 10, 12 hours a day in the health, care. And they're the ones that are doing things that I'm very grateful that they're doing. That's just not my life right now. I have time to reflect. I have time to do this. So I think everybody has an individual experience as well. And knowing that, for one person, they're going through this, another person is going through this. And for me, my experience is just having this opportunity. I look at it as an opportunity to own what I've wanted to get out for years, and now getting it out to the world.
Well, I think Billy, that's kind of what you started off with, right? The whole acknowledge feelings, acknowledge what's going on for self. And comparing it's just something that we naturally do, but I find it's just a waste. And it might, like, whatever is real for me is real for me. And that's a good place to start.
Yeah. I've kind of thought about it a little bit differently lately, that I've often said a way to really feel better is the idea of perspective. And when you look at some of the things where people are suffering tremendously, and you can always see how some people have it so much worse, and it's the idea of, wow, I've got good problems to have. And whereas I think there's something to that, I think it could be a way of trying to say, well, I'm not really feeling sad or disappointed or frustrated or lost. I could say, yeah, other people have a lot more severe stuff to deal with, and I'm really grateful that I have a job that I continue to get paid and get to do and all of that. Yet to also say, yeah, what you're feeling is real and legitimate, that you're feeling it, and to have that be okay. And if it helps to recognize, wow, I'm really grateful that it's not worse, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, hey, question for you. This is just coming up. So I am I'm all about, and I'm a proponent of embracing your feelings. Don't stuff them, which we were just talking about. Don't put them down. Because a lot of, say, here's my story, is that when I was young, I wanted to be the peacemaker, make sure, everything's going okay in the family, no conflict, avoiding conflict. And at some point, I learned, don't rock the boat. And I think that comes from a belief that I picked up that, I got to prove myself. I got to be this certain somebody to be loved or to be worthy. And as guys, that's sometimes hard to, pinpoint and articulate. But I think at the root of it, it's like we have to prove ourselves to be good, but we're already good enough. So my question is, in these times where people are feeling sad or they're feeling a certain emotion, where there are always two sides to the coin. One makes you feel good. One makes you feel not so good. It's your thinking that does it. My question is, and let's just talk about this. What does it mean to be sad? Or what does it mean to be fearful?
Well, one of the things that happens is I think we identify with our emotions. So it's like, that's who I am versus that's what's going on internally. So thoughts arise, feelings arise, and to acknowledge that they're there, but yet who we are is a matter of creation, right? So I could acknowledge that I'm feeling something. And I think one of the biggest things is, if you said, what does it mean? You can ask it another way. What's your judgment about when you have something that you might call anxiety going on internally? Or what's your judgment about sad? And I haven't met a person who's got full freedom with every emotion, right? Because of our family we grew up in, or our culture or something, we've got a story about, either anger or, I even know people, if they laugh too much, they were told to go to their room, right? So it's very distinct for different people, but I think to recognize that our evaluations of our feelings is often what makes them problematic, right? If you said, I'm feeling this, I grant all the room in the world to feel this, it moves through us generally pretty quickly.
So it's the resistance that is the challenge.
Totally.
Yeah, I think you literally have to give yourself permission to feel. Mm-hmm. And for me, I was a runner. I mean, I moved 11 times, I think, in 6 years. And then finally I realized, hey, you cannot run from self, right? I could not run from all this.
Yeah.
And I learned that the only way to heal was to feel. In other words, I had to go through the middle, because if you go around any problem, it's that boomerang effect. It's going to come back. So I had to give myself permission, and I had to learn how to break down some of those scripts, especially as a man, and understand that this act of feeling will not kill me, and that it's okay to show some vulnerability. In fact, especially as a father or as just an adult male, to model some of that behavior, because I didn't really see that as a kid. And kids are always watching us. And if we can't even go to those places of an emotional state, then why would they?
And you guys got some book chapter titles, if not just book titles. You've got to feel to heal, shake up to wake up.
The t-shirt line should be released after this video, I think.
Without a doubt, we gotta monetize this.
Yeah.
Allan, you said something right there, though, in your conversation there. You said something about you got to change the scripts.
Yeah.
What are you talking about there when you talk about change the scripts?
Well, I just think that as kids, we're sponges, and so we're always observing what's taking place in our environment and how we're supposed to act and what we're supposed to do and say. And I think that, especially for what I've been immersing myself into lately with understanding the role of men in mental health, is to just start to put a voice to some of our challenges so that, it can be modeled, and to have some of those difficult conversations. And really, if we give ourselves permission to be vulnerable, it allows others to do the same.
Right.
When you were saying something about being a runner, I thought you were going to talk about the benefit of physical activity and movement as one of the ways to deal with what we've got going on and feeling. And I thought it might be good for us in this time that we're together to maybe offer 2 or 3 of those just really practical suggestions of what we found that has helped us to cope, or maybe even to thrive.
I'll start.
Good point, Billy.
I'll start. Because when you said the running, I got the fact that you're running from yourself. But what I was thinking of, I'm doing my running every morning. And actually, that's the biggest number one thing that helps me change my state. And my state, for me, my definition is that, at any moment in time, my condition mentally, physically, emotionally, and it really is significant of how I feel. And if I'm feeling down, a lot of people promote meditation, hypnosis. I'm a hypnotist. I definitely promote it. Yet so many people in the Western world are like so in their head, they're overthinking things. And so for me to get out and run in nature in Mill Creek Ravine here, I change my state immediately. It's like I completely feel elevated, uplifted. So that's my number one tool for me, is to go out for a run in the morning and feel good.
It's like the double benefit when you get movement, physical activity, and being in nature. Like either of those is good.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's my tip.
One of the things along those lines, I'm doing yoga, I'm biking, running, walking in nature as much as I can, is I love the phrase that we aren't happy, we don't laugh because we're happy because we laugh. And that we often think of laughter as a response to something like humor, but laughter just as an exercise is just an incredible way to release stress and create positive emotion. So I'll tell you what, if you guys are up for it, let's, instead of just doing theory, let's do a little practice. So take a big breath in, we're going to let it out with a laugh.
I'm already laughing. And
Feel better?
I feel better.
like everything's surfaced. Look at how red I am now.
Yeah.
Like it's thermogenic in nature.
Wow, now we're getting polysyllabic.
Yeah.
Allan, what about you, bud?
So I often refer to, I call them the big 3: walk, talk, write. If emotions are energy, which they are, there's got to be a release, and those have always worked for me. But I think the one thing that I have found is play. And, you know, I'm fortunate to have kids, and kids have given me permission to play. And I'll just give you an example. When my first job after sobriety was as an addictions treatment, was at an addictions treatment center. So I was a counselor, and I take these youth to a tobogganing hill here in Saskatoon. And of course, none of them are going to go down the hill because they're too cool. So I said, whatever, I'll grab one of these magic carpets and go down. And while I'm flying down this hill, and halfway down, there's this noise that's coming from within, and I hear this wee. What? I think I'm having fun, and it was like something came to life, and I realized that I was like, I never gave myself permission to just go there, and so one of the things that I've been taking time to do is just that, just play, you know, just be a kid.
Cool.
So you got a wee to be.
Whee!
I don't think that'll make it into the t-shirt line.
All right.
I like all of those. The right talk and walk.
Walk, talk, right, yeah.
Walk, talk, right, and play.
Well, you're very pithy, whereas I've sometimes felt more like a sophisticated rhetorician inebriated by the exuberance of my own verbosity.
That was a mouthful.
Cool. So that was awesome,
Yeah,
guys.
cool.
So we're wrapping up in time here, Billy, because I know you've got to jump on, or Alan's got to jump on something here too.
Alan's going to go walk and deliver papers, right?
Yeah, well, maybe playing, because that's with the kids.
And laughing?
That's too far.
There's hope for you.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Well, hey, this has been good, gentlemen. Thank you.
Laugh long and prosper.